This is Abigail Storch interviewing Robert Storch, a graduate of Penn State University, regarding the Pasto Agricultural Museum, which is part of Penn State. Robert, can you start by telling us a little bit about the museum and its mission?
The Pasto Agricultural Museum began with a small exhibit of early agricultural implements, and these were displayed in the lobby of the Ag Administration Building at Penn State. Through the efforts of retired Professor Jerome Pasto, the collection began to grow, with the focus only on items powered by water, animal, or muscle power. After 30-plus years, the focus has remained the same, and the intent of the museum is to show the evolution of agriculture.
Does the museum get funding from the university, or is it responsible for fundraising through events such as the silent auction?
Shortly after Dr. Pasto began collecting artifacts, the Pennsylvania Farm Bureau made available a building which was on university property for the construction and use as a museum. Near that same time, the Pennsylvania State University Ag Alumni Society chose to provide some funding, and the university agreed to provide some funding also. Approximately 15 years ago, the museum volunteers organized a once-a-year silent auction to raise money for the acquisition and maintenance of the museum and its collection.
How has the museum grown since it's opened?
From a small display in the college administration building lobby, the museum has grown to having its own 8,000 square foot building with a full-time curator and graduate assistant.
What qualifies an artifact to be part of the museum?
To qualify, an artifact has to come from before the age of electricity, gas, or steam power, and pertain in some way to agricultural production or home arts of the time period. Most are donated and a few are purchased.
Is the museum run entirely by volunteers?
There is a volunteer board who assist with maintaining the museum and act as guides when groups wish to tour the museum. During the last 5 years, a full-time curator has been on staff who is a university employee.
How is the decision made about what artifacts to display?
The board, in conjunction with the curator, decide what themes are going to be each year, and also the board has a voice in choosing the items which we will use in whatever theme is chosen.
What happens to the artifacts when they're not on display?
The museum actually has quite a large number of items in storage. This storage has been provided by the university in a building which they are currently not using for any other purpose. The items in storage either are not in condition yet to be on display or don't fit the current theme that has been chosen to be displayed at the museum.
What aspects of agriculture does the museum cover?
The collection for the museum is continually growing, and the display in the museum usually changes focus annually. Some examples of displays involve grain harvesting, haymaking, beekeeping, ice harvest and storage, and home food storage and preparation.
What's your favorite display or topic?
My favorite display would have to do with grain harvesting and threshing. Next would come haymaking.